Steady now.
After trying to capture a slice of the sandbox market on the PlayStation 2, London Studio would set their sights on the PlayStation Portable with Gangs of London, a spin-off of the Getaway games. Despite inheriting the setting and adult content of its predecessors, this handheld effort is less British gangster movie and more bite-sized, with a reduced focus on narrative, shorter missions, and a plethora of minigames. Unfortunately, the experience would suffer a lot of similar issues affecting prior games. Uneven gameplay, which is diminished further by handheld limitations. This would make for another skippable game unless you're seriously craving some gangster action.
And the price of respect is a bullet. As the battle lines are drawn, who will be the last gang standing?
As you'd expect, Gangs of London focuses on factions within the British capital, of which there is a quintet. Each sports a different nationality and affiliation, ranging from the old school British gangsters to triads and Russians. After selecting your gang, the story sees each being wronged in some way and setting in motion an attempted takeover of London.
People are gonna pay for this in blood.
Maurice Kane, for example, sees his beloved pigeons murdered. The good news is that the story is bolstered by attractive graphic novel cutscenes that range from funny to shocking. The voice work is also strong, adding a liveliness to these already chaotic cutscenes. Unfortunately, it's also rather repetitive, as although you can play as 5 different gangs, cutscenes play out near identically, just with different voices or accents depending on your faction. And it also suffers from feeling disconnected, a loose jumble of events rather than a continuous narrative, and it feels a touch empty as a consequence. Story mode sees you partaking in 60 missions, each of which weakens a gang's stronghold on a part of London. They make for good handheld play, as most last around 3 minutes, but can grow quite samey. There's a handful of mission types, but not quite enough to avoid deja vu. Some see you driving and attempting to ram another car off the road. Others focus on combat, armed with either a melee weapon or firearm. The least enjoyable missions see you attempting stealth. While being detected isn't an instant failure, melee upon being caught is clunky. Add to this obscured vision due to a limited camera, AI that sometimes turns around on you despite crouching, and spotty stealth kills which fail to trigger, and Gangs of London causes a lot of headaches. Long before you clear the gangs out of London, which itself takes around 8 hours or so, the missions grow repetitive, which is quite surprising considering how quickly missions end. This may also be due to the core gameplay, which unfortunately is rather underwhelming. Movement feels sluggish, strafing and locking on are functional but don't allow for precision, and a basic cover system works but doesn't feel necessary. In the same vein, squad commands sometimes allow you to order a team around and even swap between characters. However, a majority of missions have no use for this system, and although it's nice to be able to swap weapons by changing characters, it shows how basic the game is when you can't even equip multiple weapons to a single character. Clearly, a compromise for a limited button set on the handheld. Driving feels like a step backwards too, with skittish handling and clunky physics making navigating the environment a chore. The Getaway games were never known for gameplay excellence, but Gangs of London feels like a step in the wrong direction. It seems instead that the developers prioritised quantity, as a ton of other modes appear outside of story. Free Roam takes advantage of the open world recreation of London, with a handful of challenges which allow you to pick a starting point across the city. These range from driving at speed to avoid a bomb exploding, exploring and photographing landmarks as a tourist, taxi fares, and fending off zombie attacks. They are a novelty at best, and fail to linger long in the memory. Gang Battle offers a turn-based strategy variant of taking over London, as you build up members and take over parts of the map or buy cards which offer buffs. It's basic, visually uninteresting, and matches last very little time. Lastly, pub games offer a handful of minigames which can be played in multiplayer. Darts, pool, skittles, and an arcade are all available, but while they offer some temporary fun, more so with another player, like most of the other modes, they offer only fleeting longevity. On a positive note, like the previous games, Gangs of London features a recreation of London which is technically impressive, especially for a handheld. Recognisable landmarks, details like flying pigeons are neat, and there's also a day-night cycle. Unfortunately, perhaps to fit this onto the UMD, the game's visuals are pretty poor. Characters look blocky, animations are choppy, and performance drops sharply at points. The colour palette, drenched with greys and browns, doesn't help either. The audio side is slightly stronger, with pleasant music and strong voice work overcoming some crunch sound effects. Gangs of London proves an underwhelming prequel for a series never known for exceeding expectations. While you'd expect compromises in the transition to the handheld, it feels less like necessary downgrades and more like a step backward. Repetitive mission design, mediocre gameplay, and bland visuals form a milquetoast experience. Not even a plethora of modes or minigames can redeem this one. Next to other sandbox efforts such as Liberty City Stories on the same handheld, it pales in comparison. Unless you have a great deal of attachment to the Getaway games or British gangster culture on the whole, this one can be skipped.
Don't worry, boss. The Tower Brothers cash cow ain't going to be printing much now we've given it a roasting.